Hello and welcome to the virtual college exploration program for all West Virginia students, hosted by West Virginia WVACRAO, the West Virginia Association of Collegiate and Associate Registrars and Admissions Officers, as well as StriveScan. You are going to be able today to ask your questions in using the Q&A buttons in the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. You can type your questions to the presenters at that time. Your camera and microphone are both off and are not enabled. Therefore, the presenters are not able to hear you or to see you. Do know that this is just one of many sessions being broadcast over the next 3 weeks. You can sign up for additional sessions at wvacrao.org/student access. And the recording of this session will also be available within a week or so at that same website if you would like to watch it back. And again, that is wvacrao.org. And with that being said, I am going to go ahead and turn this over to our panelists. Thank you.
Thanks, Leah. So hi everyone, and welcome to the session on the University of Charleston. My name is Beth Wolf. I am the Executive Vice President for Enrollment Management at UC, and I'm thrilled to have the chance to spend a little time today talking to you about our school and what we have to offer you. So by our name, you can probably guess that we are located in Charleston, capital city, and we are, but what you might not know is that we also have a campus in Beckley, West Virginia. And we also have several online degree programs. So whether you are interested in one of our Charleston programs and coming to the beautiful campus that we have right on the bank of the Kanawha River, or you're interested in one of the healthcare related majors that we have on our Beckley campus, or perhaps that you would like to study online, and we do have classes that high school students can take as non-degree students if you want to kind of get a head start on some classes at UC. But we have those locations both physically and virtually for you to choose from. Now, our undergraduate programs are housed in 3 schools. We do have a School of Pharmacy. So if you're thinking about pharmacy school as part of your future, please know that we do have that. And UC students do get an advantage in the admissions process to our pharmacy school. And our undergraduate programs are housed in our School of Arts and Sciences, our School of Business and Leadership, and our School of Health Sciences. Now, the degrees that we offer are wide-ranging from our sciences, biology, and chemistry. We have a lot of students that are pre-professional track. They're planning on going to pharmacy school, maybe medical school. We also have a physician assistant program. So a lot of our biology and chemistry students are planning to go in that direction, but as well as a lot of great communications and classic liberal arts degree programs. In our School of Health Sciences, we have associate's degrees in nursing, radiologic technology, and occupational therapy assistant, and 4-year degree programs in public health, exercise science, nursing, and radiologic science. And then our School of Business and Leadership, lots of different things in the fields of business, including a sports business degree, which is one of the really popular ones on our campus. Also, our financial planning degree, we're the only school in West Virginia to offer that one. So if that UC is a private school, that means that we don't get financial support from the state legislature. But we have a smaller campus with really small class sizes, and all of our classes really are taught by professors. We don't have classes that are being taught by graduate assistants. So you get to interact with people who are very well versed in what they're teaching, that have incredible professional experience in what they're teaching. And then you also get to know your classmates very well. I'm going to show you a picture of our campus in just a second. You're going to see just how compact and easy it is to get around. And being with our campus that's in Charleston, you have a front row seat to internships with banks, law firms, the state government, so many opportunities to get out and do some real work while you're still in school that is going to be a huge bonus for you when you graduate, because you'll already have that work experience that employers like to see. We are also the most diverse institution in the state of West Virginia, and we have students from literally all over the world on our campus, which makes it a really fun place to meet people and get to know people from all kinds of different backgrounds and locations. So that campus that I was telling you about, here's a picture of it. You can see we are right on the river. I have a really wonderful view of the river from my office, which is in Riggleman Hall. That is the office that you see on the left-hand side of the picture. It's the original building for campus, and we have our administrative offices and lots of classrooms. Also an art gallery that is dedicated to the art of West Virginia women artists, which is a pretty neat thing to have, and it's a great place to go, and just when you need a little break to go and look at some of the art, it's a very relaxing kind of space. Fun fact, our four main buildings in terms of our academic structures and student facilities are all connected. So on a day like today, when it's gorgeous and beautiful and the sun is shining, I'm walking outside along the riverbank and enjoying that view. But on those cold, snowy, rainy days that we have in the winter, if I need to go to the opposite end of campus to the Innovation Center, I'm going through the pathway that keeps me inside. And so it's very convenient that I don't have to put my coat on and go out in the cold. We have a fitness center, and then our residence halls are just right across the street from all of our academic buildings. So if you have an 8 a.m. class, which is always the one that everybody dreads, like nobody wants the 8 a.m. class, but if you have that 8 a.m. class, you can like literally roll out of bed of like 7:50 and not be late. So that's a huge, huge bonus. Now, one thing that I really like about UC and what we have to offer is our flexible curriculum. And there are many ways in which it is flexible. One is in our general education requirements. We call it the flex curriculum. And that's because we're more focused on the skills that you're going to develop through those gen ed classes than having you take a very specific like a very specific history class or a very specific math class. You have a lot of options in terms of those classes. But what we're focusing on are the skills of analytics, communication, technology, innovation, values, and engagement. We're also flexible in terms of how much time it takes you to graduate. The majority of our degrees have pathways where you can complete them in 3 years instead of 4. And that is one reason why many of our students graduate on average with less debt than some students do from the public institutions in the state. If you can get done faster, it's less tuition that you need to pay. And so you end up finishing with less debt, which is always a good thing. And as I mentioned earlier, we have programs with automatic acceptance to the graduate level with our business, pharmacy, and physician assistant graduate programs. Our students are very successful. That is proven in the pass rates of licensure exams that our students take in radiologic technology and nursing, and our med school acceptance rates of our students who pursue that path. So we definitely have a quality education that really prepares you to be successful in those paths to your career. Our campus is also very, well, it's just full of activity. And one thing that I've really been impressed with during COVID is how much we've been able to do even with the social distancing. So one of the big things that we do every year on Labor Day is called Labor of Love. One of the points of our mission at UC is to prepare students for a life of community engagement. And we live that out in a number of ways, but one of the ways we do that is with Labor of Love. And usually it's a day, but because of COVID, we decided to spread it out so we could kind of spread our groups out working. So we did it across the whole Labor Day weekend, where we were involved in community service projects. We made blankets to take to the homeless shelters. We were involved in a community art project that was really cool. We went to some of the local schools and helped clean up around their playgrounds. So we were very involved. And then after that, we had an event called Lounging on the Lawn, our big lawn that's by the river. And we had all kinds of activities. We stuffed eagles, or the golden eagles. We had giant Connect Four games. We had all kinds of different activities out on the lawn, and we were able to do it while still social distancing, while wearing our masks, so still being safe. But there's always something to do on campus. And then obviously being in Charleston, there's so much to do in Charleston. And so our students often go downtown, they go to Taylor Books. That's a real popular place for students to go, lots of restaurants. And one thing that Charleston has been doing during the pandemic is Fridays through Sundays, shutting down some of the streets so that the restaurants can do outdoor seating. And so that's been a really great thing. I'm hoping that they can figure out a way to keep doing it even as the weather is getting cooler through the fall. We are a Division II school for athletics, and we're part of the Mountain East Conference. We have 19 different sports, men's and women's. We have very successful teams, and we're very proud to be the reigning national champions for Division II men's soccer. And we've actually won that 2 out of the past 3 years. So our soccer team is really anxious to get to defend that title. And so, obviously they're going to have to wait a little bit to try to defend the national championship, but we are planning to have some conference championships in the spring, and I'm very excited about that. Now, scholarship awards are obviously one of the things that are top of mind for students with private schools, because since we don't get that financial support from the state, we have a higher tuition level than most of the public schools have for their in-state tuition. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to pay more to come to UC, because we have some really great scholarship programs here at UC. So the first one is our academic scholarships that are awarded based on your GPA. If you have a 4.0 or higher GPA from high school, you are automatically awarded a $20,000 per year scholarship. So our academic scholarships start at the 3.0 GPA and up from there. If you have a GPA below 3.0 though, don't worry. We do have some opportunity grants that you'll be considered for if your GPA is below 3.0. And so because we have high quality programs that prepare you, like I showed you with our success rate on the licensure exams, and because we do work to make this affordable for students, it really is a good value. You can submit your FAFSA to UC, Pell Grant, student loans, West Virginia Higher Ed Grant, Promise, all of those programs. You can bring that money to UC. There's no limit on doing that just because we're a private school. We also have a no interest payment plan. So every semester you can break your money that's due to the university after we apply all of your scholarships and your federal and state aid. Anything that's left over to pay, you can break that into 5 payments per semester. So many of our students find that they're paying maybe $100 or $200 a month to cover that balance that's due. And then we also have a number of other scholarships. Of course, our athletics teams award scholarships. That's very competitive, being recruited by the coaches. We also have scholarships to participate in our band and choir programs. We have need-based scholarships. We have scholarships for housing if you're going to live on campus. And so just visit our website. You'll see a lot of information, including information on our presidential scholarship, which is full tuition and full room and board for 4 years. And that does have an application process. It's a competitive scholarship, but all of that information is available on our website. So if you are interested in UC and you'd like to know, like, well, how much scholarship money will you give me? All you need to do is apply. You can apply online. We need your application. You can submit that electronically, or we can send you a paper application if you want to send that in. We'll need your high school transcript, although we can make an admissions decision based on a self-reported GPA, but we will need the transcript to verify for your scholarship. And then we do have an application fee, but if you apply online and enter Wings Up in the box on that page when you pay, we will waive that application fee and you can apply for free. And then after you've applied and you've been admitted, then we can give you your financial aid offer. You can make your deposits if you decide that UC is the place for you, sign up for your campus housing, and then sign up for our orientation program in the summer. You'll be all ready to go. So we'd love for you to come visit our campus. We are doing in-person campus visits, and you can schedule that through our website, ucwv.edu, and the visit link is right at the very top. But we're also doing virtual visits. So if you can't make the trip to Charleston, or maybe you're just not comfortable with doing that. You know, my husband has not left the house a whole lot since March. And so, you know, he's not going to a restaurant, and that's okay. So if you're in the camp with him and you're like, I don't want to do that, we'll do a virtual visit for you. Same form, just click the visit, and then virtual visit is one of the options on that. And when you visit, whether in person or through Zoom, we're going to let you talk to a faculty member so you can learn more about the degree program that you're interested in. We'll have you talk to your an admissions rep, a current student, and so you'll get to have the chance to really learn more about UC, from what it's like to be a student here, how to get admitted, how to get the most in terms of financial aid, and then also what to expect when you come here and major in the field that you're interested in. Now, we have West Virginia divided into 3 territories with admissions reps assigned to each one. If you are in the Northern Panhandle and the northwest part of the state, your representative is Kaylee Lowe. You can see her email address and phone number on the map. So Kaylee is our senior admissions rep, and she will be happy to work with you. Just shoot her an email and she will get you started answering all of your questions about UC. If you're in the southwest part of the state, your representative is Faith Cobb, and Faith's email and phone number is available on there as well. You can reach out to Faith if you're in the Kanawha, Putnam, Cabell, Southern Coalfield, or at least part of the Southern Coalfield area. Faith is your rep. And then from Raleigh County up through the Eastern Panhandle, your representative is Susan Will, and her email address and phone number is on the screen as well. Now, I mentioned the Beckley campus. The Beckley campus, you can pursue the occupational therapy assistant, associate degree in nursing, or radiologic technology degree. And if you are interested in one of those, you're going to want to reach out to Drew Currents. And it doesn't matter which county you live in. If you're interested in the Beckley campus, Drew is your guy. And his email address is, and phone number is there as well. But Drew is our Beckley campus rep. He is an expert on all of those degree programs, and he can definitely help you with that process too. So we would love to have you apply. You can, like I said, you can do that online, and with the code WINGS UP, you can You can apply for free. We'll waive that application fee. You can learn more about us on our website at ucwv.edu, but also we'd love for you to follow our social media accounts. I especially recommend our Instagram account, which is UCWV. Our campus photographer is so talented, so amazing. He gets some of the best shots ever. And I love following our Instagram account because he gets some of the most beautiful views of our campus. So it's a really great way to get a feel for what it's like here. So with that, I want to encourage people to ask questions in the Q&A. We've got plenty of time to answer your questions. And the first one that we got is, what restaurants and coffee shops are near your school? Great question. So on campus, we have 2 dining halls and the coffee tavern. So the one dining hall is a kind of traditional all you can eat, lots of different food stations. They have a salad bar. They have kind of like a hot meal. So lots of different options to choose from. Our other dining hall is the food court, and it is like an a la carte. They have a grill with hamburgers, fries, pizza, sub sandwiches. In the food court, they have a rotating section that every couple of weeks changes to something different. So like for 2 weeks, it might be like a mega salad bar. And then the next 2 weeks, it might be like Mexican bar. So it's always changing up. And then the coffee tavern is in our student union, and they serve Starbucks coffee, and they have like pastries, breakfast sandwiches. And then like at lunch, they have pre-made sandwiches and soup. I've been digging the soup like multiple times. Like fall comes, I'm all about the soup. So I go down to the CT to get soup. Now nearby, oh my gosh, so many options from, fast food. I mean, of course, there's Wendy's and McDonald's and that stuff. But what I really like are the local restaurants. So there's kind of like a couple different areas where the local restaurants are. Of course, in downtown Charleston. Oh my goodness, so many great places. Adelphia, Black Sheep. I can't even focus. Pies and Pints, so many great restaurants downtown. And then we're just a couple of miles from Corridor G. They have a lot of great restaurants, including a new one called Barcadas. I haven't been yet, but everybody says it's really great. We have a great Mexican restaurant close to campus. Actually had lunch from there yesterday. So there is not a lack of places to eat or get coffee while you're here. There's plenty of places to do that. So you can be well fed and well caffeinated, really without even leaving campus. And then there's so many of the places also do delivery. So if you don't have a car, you can bring a car. That's a question a lot of times people ask, oh, can I bring a car to campus? You can. You have to get a parking permit. But you can bring a car to campus, but if you don't have a car, we have a campus bus that will take you downtown. And then there's also, people always have your friends in your residence hall will take you places. So would love to have more people ask questions about UC and what to expect. Can you have a mini fridge and a Keurig? Yes, you can. There are some limitations in terms of size, but all of that information that you about what you can and can't bring to the residence hall is provided to you by our housing office. So they give you a whole list, here's what you can bring, here's what not to bring, here's the size with the fridge. So you can, they'll give all that information to you. So let me talk a question about our residence halls. Let me talk to you a little bit about our residence halls. We have 4 residence halls on campus. East Apartments is for our graduate and upper level students, and those are actual apartments with a kitchen and all of that kind of thing. And then our other residence halls are a mix of freshmen, sophomore, junior, and senior students. They are all co-ed dorms. well, actually we're supposed to say residence halls, right? Not dorms, but they're all co-ed buildings. But those buildings all have a bathroom that is shared by only like 1 or 2 rooms. So for instance, in Brotherton Hall, there will be a room, a bathroom, and then a room. And that bathroom in the middle is shared by the rooms on either side of it. And then we have, with the rooms, you can do singles or you can do doubles. So if you actually want a room by yourself, you can do that. Single rooms are a little bit more expensive than double rooms, but that is an option. You can choose a single room in any of the buildings except for East Apartments. And then if you do a double room, you can also request your roommate. So if you have a friend who's coming, or maybe you meet somebody through like orientation, you can request a specific person to be your roommate. But we don't have any like larger like suite rooms where you're sharing a room with like 4 other people. So it's really manageable and pretty private. And also private in the bathrooms too, which is nice. So, other questions that you all have? I know the bathroom question for the residence halls is often a big one. When a long time ago, when I was a freshman, I had the room or the building that I lived in, not anywhere in West Virginia, had, a bathroom that everybody had to share. And there were 3 shower stalls and only 2 shower curtains. So, so I would have loved to have had the setup that we have in our halls here, where I was only having to share a bathroom with like a couple other people. That would have been great. So, keep submitting your questions in the Q&A. We're happy to answer those. Just kind of a couple of other things that people often, just kind of wonder about in terms of choosing a college and where to go. Is one of my biggest pieces of advice is to make sure that you wait until you get your full financial aid package before you make a decision based on price. So, our private schools do have a larger price tag up front, but you saw that our scholarship amounts are very large, and so they bring that cost down very quickly. So I know that cost is important, but you want to really make the decision based on what are you going to actually have to pay, and the only way that you're going to know that is to get that financial aid package. So don't just, if you're looking at a school and you're like, man, they have the major that I want, they're in the location where I want to be, they check all these boxes, but I just think they're too expensive. Give them a shot, apply, see what your financial aid package is going to be before you make that final decision. We have another question related to the residence halls, and that is about the beds. Are they in bunk beds or are they on opposite sides of the room? And the answer to that is yes. You can actually do either. You can have them bunked if you want to, or you can have them on opposite sides of the room. We do have lifts for some of the beds, and we don't have enough for all of them. So there's like a lottery to see if you get a set of lifts for the bed if you want your bed up, but you don't want it bunked. But that's always something that is great to just kind of figure out with your roommate. Like, how do you want to do that? Do you want the extra floor space? Or would you rather have the bed separated? And that's always like, just a personal kind of choice, but you can do it either way. Talking about residence halls and living on campus, obviously it does increase the cost of your college experience. Living on campus is more expensive than living at home. But it's not always more expensive to live on campus than it is to live in an apartment. So it's really important to make sure that you're, really looking at the whole, what are you getting for that cost? So it's not just like rent, it's also your meal plan. So, your food, it's including all of your utilities. Here, laundry is included, and we have a really great laundry app, so you can actually see in real time if there's a washer available, or if it's being used, how long until it's done. And if you're using it, it will like send you an alert when it's time to like take the clothes out of the washer and put them in the dryer, which is great because, again, back in the dark ages when I was in college, we didn't have that. And so you would like put your laundry in, and then you would, start watching something on television or doing homework or whatever. You would lose track of time, and then you would come back and somebody would have come in and like taken your wet clothes and like throwing them on the floor, and it was terrible. So it's really great that now there's an app that tells you, hey, your laundry's done, go take care of it. And also you don't have to like carry your laundry all the way to the washer and then find out that it's not available. Let's see, what else should I tell you about the experience? Oh, the other thing about living on campus to keep in mind is when you're calculating kind of if you live close enough to a school that you could commute or you could choose to live on campus. Another thing to think about is the cost of your gas and the wear on your car, as well as the cost of your time. So if you're commuting to campus and you have a 45-minute drive to get from your house to campus, then that's going to be, an hour and a half of your day. And that's, when there aren't any wrecks or anything like that you're having to spend in the car. And that's time that you can't spend studying or working on your reading assignments or, doing your homework. And so that can really start to add up. I mean, you take an hour and a half, 5 days a week, then you're really talking about almost the equivalent of an entire work day that you have spent in the car. And that's a lot of time that you don't have to work on your schoolwork to be successful. So definitely think about that and keep that in mind as part of the whole, kind of pros and cons, pluses and minuses of living on campus. And the other thing too to think about is what you have access to if you're living on campus. So obviously one is you have the access to a community within your residence hall. So not just your roommate, but the people who live in like your wing of the building on your floor. You get to know those people and can many times form lifelong friendships through that. You also have that really close access to your classes, to the library, to the labs. If you're a science student, we have students who participate in research with faculty members. So you're already here. You don't have to make an extra trip in order to do that. And so that's a big, advantage. So definitely think about all of those things. Those are kind of hard to put a price tag on, but there are definitely benefits to living on campus. We've got another question related to living on campus, and that is, can a male and female be in the same room? Currently, I don't think that is allowed. And I think in part because of like 2 rooms sharing 1 bathroom. But that's a really great question for our housing director, Ryan White. And when this is over, we'll actually get information about the questions that were asked. And so I can check with Ryan and kind of follow up on that and confirm the answer and then email that to the student who has asked the question. So we'll make sure to get the real firm answer. I think the answer is no, but I'm going to double check and I will let that student know. But these are all really great questions, and that kind of brings me to another thing, which is to ask questions. I know all of you have a lot of questions about the process, about the requirements, about the financial aid, about living on campus. It's so important that you ask those questions so that you can make sure that you have all of the information to make the very best decision. And speaking of process, I was completely remiss when I was going through the slide about admissions. I said, what do you need? And I said, your application and your transcript. And somebody might have thought, did she mean to say test scores? And no. I did not mean to say test scores, because UC has gone test blind, not test optional, test blind, which means we don't need a test score, period. We don't need it to admit you. We don't need it to give you scholarship money, and we don't need it to place you in your first year math class. We have other mechanisms, primarily using your GPA, but also being able to use some other things, especially when it comes to scholarships, to be able to look at. So we don't need a test score for anything. If you have them and you want to send them to us, that just lets us know you're interested, and we'll definitely follow up with you. But we don't have to have a test score in your file. So that's another thing too to think about is, you know, what kind of process do you have to go through to be admitted? And we've tried to make it as easy as possible. And especially in light of the pandemic, you know, we don't want you to have to sit in a room with a bunch of people that you don't know to take a test that really isn't going to tell us a whole lot of anything about your potential for success at UC. There are many other things that can tell us much more about your likelihood to be successful as a student here. And that's what we want to use. So we have just a few more minutes left on the schedule. So I do just want to kind of do a last call for questions for anybody who's watching. If you have any last lingering questions, now is the time to type them in to the Q&A so that we can answer them while we're still on air. But if we have answered all of your questions, we're not going to drag this out and keep you longer. I think one of the things that I have learned during the COVID pandemic is that I'm never sad when a meeting ends early. So the phone number for UC, great question. You can reach us at 304-357. Oh, y'all, I just went blank on our phone number.
4750.
Thank you. 4750. I get saved by my colleagues that are not on camera. So 304-357-4750. I'm struggling with learning the phone numbers for some reason, and that one got past me. So we'd love for you to call our admissions office. We'll be happy to help you out. If you call, that's our main admissions number. If you call and you want to speak to your rep, just tell the person who answers the phone, who will most likely be Laura, that you'd like to talk to your rep. Just tell her where you're from, and she will connect you with Kaylee, Faith, or Susan as appropriate. Or if you're interested in Beckley campus, tell her that you want to talk to somebody about the Beckley campus, and she'll get you transferred over to Drew. So with that, I know that Leah has a couple of wrap up announcements. So I will ask her to come back, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who watched live. Thank you if you're watching the recording later on. And we would love to have all of you come visit us, come see what UC is all about. And I think you'll be really excited to see what we have to offer. And Leah, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
You know, you'd think we would be used to this by now. Thank you, Beth. And thank you to everybody that was able to join us today for this virtual event about the University of Charleston. After you close this window, there will be a quick 4-question survey that pops up, and we would really appreciate if you would take the time to complete that. Also, do keep in mind that we have another 2 full weeks of sessions from over 100 colleges from 9 different states and 2 countries. You can sign up to attend more of those sessions at WVACRAO.org/student access. And finally, if you would decide that you would like to watch this recording back to hear back all of the information that Beth and her colleagues shared with you, those recordings will be available within the week, and they will be at WVACRAO.org/student access. Just click watch recordings. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.
Bye, everybody.